Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is February 5th, Monday, and we're on to our third recording, which we're getting back into doing slightly shorter recordings. I'd like to get all of these done, but more realistically, I'm probably only going to get 2 of these done. I guess if I get one more 100 victory and I still haven't done the hero power 30 times, which is a good possibility, I'll go over to the paladin deck and play that. So let's come back to casual play. We still, even though we're on our third recording, have a decent amount of news, which is surprising. I guess as we just get further and further away from, what is it, Christmas, we're getting closer and closer to E3 and announcements and things like that. The first news article we have is the closed Sea of Thieves beta had 332,000 players, but the way Eurogamer writes this, though, if that's the number of people who logged in, they were questioning how many of those people somehow stole the game and pirated it, even in the open beta. Sea of Thieves was a big hit on Twitch and Mixer, apparently reaching the live viewer top spot when the closed beta ran. Add a random beast to my hand, let's do that. Interesting. I don't think only you can target this with spells and hero powers. This is an interesting epic card, but it's not really worth anything. I was hoping for something better. Well, this is a really clickbait article, I suppose. Or it was a clickbait Twitter. Because this article has nothing to do with any kind of... there's like one sentence here. So most people had to pre-order to get the closed beta access in the first place. I have to kill this for protection. Yeah, there's literally nothing in this Eurogamer article about piracy or any of the players being alleged to be pirates at all. Wow. Just got clickbaited, I guess. I just got clickbaited. Well, that's a disappointing. My personal opinion on the Sea of Thieves is still it doesn't look like a long-term interesting game. It is this group play game that's not going to work for most people. It's not going to work for me. It's just going to be I think it's going to be pretty repetitive too. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. I want this, I guess. This is a paladin that can win. Here I have Dying Lights. For their year 3 years, they're going to do a brand new community event called Undying Love, weekly giveaways on Gimli, much more, content drop number 3. So they're still very much supporting Dying Light. Whenever I get around to actually playing Dying Light, it's like right now it's on Gimli, which apparently is their preferred place to sell it, which maybe Techland owns Gimli. It's very possible they do. But even they have it only listed as 66% off. Whereas a 3-year-old game, even if it is being supported heavily, I want it somewhere, let's see. Man, I think Hearthstone's having some network trouble right now, and I'm getting a lot of free victories from it, and I'm happy to take those free victories. Yeah, I would want it to go from $60 to $15, and I'm being very generous in my mind to even be willing to pay $15 for all of Dying Light, season pass, everything. Somebody gifted me Fallout 4, and I'm very appreciative of it, and I'm not trying to complain at all. However, he only gifted me the main version, and I'm going to now have to wait till a sale happens and buy the season pass for it to try to get all the content, if I care enough to do that, which I would argue I probably do. Let's get rid of this one. But yeah, Dying Light is supporting it. It's like that phrase, never been a better time to get into Dying Light than right now. And ideally that's what you want in all games, is you want it to just get better and better over time, not worse and worse. So I'm gonna do this here right now, and then next turn I'm gonna play this. PUBG banned over 1 million players in January. Its new anti-cheat measures also block reshade. What is reshade? Is the question. Let's see. Yeah, they blocked. The tweet is they blocked over 1 million players. Unfortunately, things continue to escalate. A big problem with the cheating in PUBG is you can get items, outfits for PUBG by playing the game, and then those items can be sold. So while it wouldn't be worth somebody's time who lives in the United States probably to play PUBG and try and get items and sell it, it is totally worth some people in China's time to do that, because they've got really no opportunity for any other job that would pay them any better. And you can certainly live on a lot less money in some parts of China like that. And when we say China, it's possible that the internet PUBG players are actually coming from like North Korea, and then the internet is being sent through to China. One of the popular programs that will be blocked is Reshade. You will now be banned for having it on your system, but you will not be banned for having it on your system, but you will no longer be able to play PUBG when it is installed. Please uninstall Reshade and any other blocked program and launch the game again. Some players have found reinstalling PUBG also is necessary. So what is Reshade? Reshade is a post-processing injector, but for games and video software. And it's an open source program. So it changes the way a game looks. And I imagine the reason why you wouldn't want that is because there's probably a way to change the way it looks so it's easier to see enemies, like make them stand out like a sore thumb, or possibly there's a way to not render bushes and houses and things, or make them transparent. We can expect that PUBG is going to come out with some more anti-cheater rules, and so cheaters are not going to succeed in the long run, but in the short run they might. Rock Paper Shotgun has the Steam charts for February. I mean, well, January it would have to be. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is number 10. Not really surprising there. Let's see, still want to do this, and every time I do that I can't do anything else. So let's do that, and then that, and then end the turn. Number 8. What was number 9? Gosh, can you not number things? Seriously. Well, number 9 is unknown. Number 8 is Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition. Like, how is that on the Steam charts? I guess the Windows Edition is on the Steam. Number 7 is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The reason why CSGO is always high is because people get banned from that game too, and they purchase it. Number 6 is Slay the Spire, which is surprising because I just have heard of that. Number 5 is 1944, or Battlefield Battalion 1944. Really haven't heard anything of that. Number 4 is Final Fantasy 12 The Zodiac Age. Number 3 is Subnautica. Subnautica has been getting a decent amount of buzz. I'm not sure I really want to play a game like that though. As somebody who's not super big into like the ocean, just in general. If it comes down to playing Subnautica or No Man's Sky, I would definitely play Subnautica, but I'm not sure how good of a game that really is. Number 2 is something that does have my attention, and that is Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like, I totally would love to play that game right now, and I would probably totally love to play it, you know, months from now too, because I'm just gonna play a single player experience. And number 1 is Plunkbat. What? Oh, that's what they call PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and that's an inside joke. Like, you shouldn't put inside jokes in your articles. Big surpriser there, Slay the Spire, making it into the top 10 for January. Like, Battlefield or Battlefront, the Star Wars game, not making it on the list. Maybe because it's through a separate service. Maybe not. Like, I just installed Assassin's Creed Revelations and had to go through a horrible process of installing 4 different keys to unlock all the DLC. It's not even connected to Steam. So that Steam gives you these CD keys. You can't use the CD keys on the DLC in the Uplay app. No, you have to go into Assassin's Creed, click on the extras, then type in the keys, but you can't copy and paste the keys, which means you either have to hit Alt Tab or have two monitors like me to see what the key is, the 16 character long key, type it in, and then hit enter. It's ridiculous. And even when all of that's said and done, there's still things that can be unlocked with Uplay bucks. And I'm not sure I really want to spend what is a limited resource in Uplay bucks to unlock all of those things. But some of them probably some of them probably are going to have to be spent. Let's see. Now there's one big story we haven't talked about, and I don't suppose I'm really avoiding it for any reason other than that's just how it lined up on my list of things to talk about. So we'll get to that, but I do want to wait a little bit. There we go. We already talked about that story. Gamma Sutra has an article called Kickstarter and Games in 2017. I heard someone on YouTube say that Gamma Sutra really is written for devs by devs. You know, they seem to let the devs do their own, put their own blogs on it, which fine by me. I'd rather hear what they're talking about than have it happen in like secret conversations in the background. Let's see. Divine Shield. And spells. So the games category is now leading on Kickstarter. That's kind of not surprises. They've got a lot of graphs here. Today's been a bad day for graphs for me, so I'm not sure. Total amount pledged per year for successful projects in the category games. In 2011 it was $3 million. In 2012 it was $74 million. In 2013 it was $100 million. And then in 2014 it was $75 million. I think there may have been a recession in 2014 that explains some of that. Change all minions health to 1. And do this. And that. And that. 2015 it was 132 million. 2016 it was 122 million. And 2017 it was 162 million. So a steady increase in the number of games that are getting funded on Kickstarter, which is how they label something as successful, which I would argue, you know, actually delivering a desirable product should be a calculation in that too. Like, that's just a crazy thought I guess I have, that just because something is funded, that's not the end of the story. The next chart is the total number of projects per year funded. And I think Kickstarter probably started in 2011, so let's see. So funded projects in 2011 were 250, 448 weren't funded. 2012 it was 912 funded versus 1761 not funded. 2013 Here we go. 2013, 14,000 were funded about, and 26,000 weren't funded. 2014, 1900 were 1,400 and 2,600 in 2013. 2014, 1,900 were funded, and you see a major jump in 2014 where 3,929 are not funded. And this jump only gets larger in 2015 where 2,258 were funded and 5,161 weren't. Well, we've used our hero power 15 times, even if we lost. In 2016, it starts to get a little bit better. 2,586 are funded and 4,347 are not funded. So it seems like in 2011, over double are not funded for every one that is funded. There's 2 others that aren't. But that was getting up to as high as for every one that was funded, nearly 3 or 4 projects were not funded. In 2017, 2,970 games were funded, where 3,981 weren't funded. I would like to take that as good news that people are realizing that they shouldn't go to Kickstarter with bad pitches, and but it could also be people just going to other services like Patreon or Fig. I don't. Okay, the next chart here is money raised per tier, which is to say, if the game was asking for a small amount of money or a large amount of money. And let's see if I can work this down. In 2011, you really were only asking for large amounts of money. And it's hard to read this, but I'm thinking it's somewhere between 100,000 and maybe 250,000. Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? I'm gonna have to zoom in on this picture to read what it says. The key's too small. And zooming in on a picture doesn't work, because zoom on Chrome just makes, well, it barely works. So to roughly surmise, it looks like the bottom tier category has been growing at a minimal rate. So cheapest games that people try to kickstart are not skyrocketing, but the most expensive games are skyrocketing. The rules must have changed in 2012 because there's no information for any category except for a certain category, like the second to cheapest games, if I'm reading this graph right. But then in 2012, there's another tier and another tier and another tier, and you see a massive increase for the most expensive games. You see a huge amount. I'd say at least 4 times any other category are the most expensive. When people go to Kickstarter, they do seem to only want all the money. They don't want just some money. We've got Torva the Ganker on the chat saying hello, or yellow. Hello, Torva. So trying to boil down this graph from Kickstarter, I would say, looking at 2017, every single category has gotten wider and wider. More people want more money, but the top two levels, people wanting the most amount of money, have grown much larger than the other categories. It's been a steady increase for small amounts of money, but it is a massive increase, and still nearly half of all of the people want the largest category of the money, and the top two tiers of people are doing at least 2/3 of all the money that they're asking for. Let's see. Whereas this next category is successful projects per tier. So for every successful project, which I would again assume that they mean successful in the fact that it was actually funded, how many of those over the years have been fully funded? And in a strange way, the number almost doesn't change at all for low amounts of money. It barely grows for the second tier, asking for a small amount of money, but not the smallest amount of money. It just barely changes for the third tier, asking for a medium amount of money. But it drastically grows between 2011 and 2017 as far as the second to top tier and the top tier. Like, they started off with barely 200, maybe 100 in 2011, and there's 1,800 on the second level tier, asking for the second level of money, and so an 18 times increase for the second tier and a 7 times increase or 8 times increase in the top tier. So if you're going to do a Kickstarter, I imagine you should just ask for the most amount of money so you actually finish projects. Here's a different one, talking about Kickstarter in video games. The number one game, and I guess here's a problem we found with this statistic, is I thought they were talking about video games, and they're not. The number one game that has been funded is tabletop games. So, and whoever made this chart made it with the wrong color, so it looks like the other thing. Yes, tabletop games have over 1,000 funded projects in 2016 and 2017, over, frankly, 3,500 between those 2 years. Whereas every other game, like video games in particular, barely have 700 games that were funded in that time. Puzzles, there was only 35 puzzles that were funded on Kickstarter in 2 years, which I guess that's not super surprising. Like, why would you need to fund a puzzle? Like, either you can make it or you can't. Mobile games, there was only 77 mobile games on Kickstarter. Live games, there was 85. I don't know what live games really are. Gaming hardware, there were, let's see, I'd imagine 62 attempts to sell gaming hardware, and I would imagine at least 50 of those on Kickstarter were gaming hardware to run retro games and use illegally use emulators that are open source and can't be sold. And then there's another category of just games that has 256 games for 2016 2017, but I don't know what games are if they're not tabletop games. And this next chart is the exact same chart, basically. Tabletop games by far made the most amount of money because by far they were the most funded. Video games make a distant second in that, where playing cards actually made considerably less money, even though they are the third category, and I guess that makes a look at the minor subcategories. They say games, the catch-all meant to cover any project that the existing labels don't properly represent, doubled in size in 2017. So I bet a bunch of people accidentally labeled things under the category of games when they should have been labeled as video games, but it literally wouldn't have changed. Well, the next chart here, we have the evolution between 2016 and 2017 in the amount of money that was pledged. And in puzzles, they went down negative 49%. In tabletop games, they went up 37%. In video games, they went down 1%. And in the general category of games, they went up 102%, which tells me there probably wasn't even a category of games in the old days. Let's see. Evolution between 2016 and 2017 per categories as far as project funded. Okay, tabletop games 20% were more funded. Video games 9% less, negative 9% were funded. And major jumps in the general games and gaming hardware for around 37% for them. Major falls for live games at negative 40% between 2016 and 2017. 8% drop in mobile games too. This is a lot of information right now that is giving me a much clearer understanding of Kickstarter and video games and Kickstarter in general. At the end of the day, it's probably just the exact same information that information I didn't need, because I morally object to people paying for games that are unfinished or paying for unfinished things. And I don't believe anybody should pre-order games. I don't believe anybody should kickstart games. If you want to be an investor, be a real investor. You know, have enough money that you can become an accredited investor and put at least $10,000 in a game and get some stock and share in that company. And I'm bored of these charts, so I'm gonna scroll down. I got maybe a third of the way through these charts, and I'm gonna drink some water too. I talk too much. So, at the end of the day, I'm just taking this all to mean Kickstarter is coming and going, and it's not going anywhere anytime fast. So it's still going to be around. People willing to invest in games will go up as long as there aren't major examples of games not being finished. The problem with that thought is that there almost always are going to be examples of games not being finished. Like, I know of at least a couple games that have been kickstarted that are supposed to come out, and I imagine we'll start to see delays and they just won't come out at all. And there have been major stories of this. And at the end of the day, I still stick by what I said. Don't invest. It turns out Jim Sterling confirmed that he is the boss in this Streets of Red Devil's Dare Deluxe game that seems to be full of memes and references. So, and that they actually did pay him for voice acting. So if he says anything without disclosing the fact that he has a financial investment in it, that's illegal and immoral. I don't think he'll actually do that though, because he's pretty obvious that he would rather be a voice actor. He'd rather be, frankly, anything than a video game critic. Like, I'm not going to go as far as to say he totally hates his website and his empire that he's built, but he certainly doesn't seem like he's into it anymore. He's stopped reviewing games. He's just kind of playing them the ones he wants to play. He's into wrestling and talking about that way more. I sadly follow him on Twitter, and probably will eventually mute him. But like, he's talking about wrestling so much. He's got his Stardust outfit, like, and I don't even know what he thinks he's doing there, because he has like a slipped disc or something, so he can never really be anything other than a manager. And I guess that's maybe what his goal is to become a manager in a local wrestling group in, I believe he lives in Mississippi. So he'd rather do that than be a critic or be the YouTube drama queen that he is. Like, he really is kind of just a YouTube drama person. But he makes the arguments, to his credit, that need to be made. He does say, you know, he's not just he's not just towing the corporate line and saying all of the things that you want that Konami and Ubisoft would want him to say. Let's see, I'm scrolling down somebody's Twitter feed for no reason. Let's keep on playing. I still need victories, but right now I'm just trying to use my hero ability 15 more times. And let's see, have we gotten to the big story yet? That's a job listing. That's a job listing. That's a job listing. I think we're tired. We are ready for the big story. Yep, I think we're ready. So the big story that I was waiting to get all of my tabs in the same place, that way I don't cover it multiple times, because this one's an interesting one. Valve has suspended the Counter-Strike co-creator after he was arrested for sexual exploitation of a child. They've suspended him, and they're, I assume, doing some investigation here. Now, before we go any further, it is worth pointing out in the US system that you have to be, when on probation at least, you have to be gainfully employed. But if you're on probation, you have been convicted of a crime. And employers don't want to hire people who are convicted of a crime. So there is a high rate of what they call recidivism, where people turn back to a life of crime after being in jail, simply because there is a system designed in which they cannot follow, they literally cannot stay employed to stay on probation. And that's part of a bigger system in which people who go to jail are not rehabilitated or helped in any way, and they're given literally no compassion. And if you're a criminal for any crime, you're a criminal for life. So now I don't believe there's really a reason right now, since he's only been booked and he's out on bond, that he would have to maintain his job. This is the least of his worries, and it should be the least of his worries. But you do start to see if, and this is a big if because I don't know any details of the case at all, if he is 100% completely innocent and he loses his job, that's not a fair implement of justice in the judicial sense, nor is it a fair implementation of justice in the alright, so I only need to play one more hero ability, so I'm going to start playing to win. In just society. That being said, Valve can't really do anything other than that. This is the right response. We've had far too many instances of somebody being accused of something and then it being investigated internally, and the person keeps their job and they continue to work at a place forever and ever until they finally get caught, and then it looks like a corporation is covering up and implicit in there, and it just looks bad. So suspending them is the right move. Firing them, I would argue, isn't the right move, because people shouldn't be fired on an accusation. That being said, that is about as nice as I can say for this guy, because this does not look good at all. Cliff, let's see, his name is Jess Cliff, or Jess Cliffy, C-L-I-F-F-E, was the co-creator alongside another person named Min Lee as a mod for Valve's Half-Life. They co-created Counter-Strike. So if Jess Cliff is out and Min Lee is the only person left, Counter-Strike Go, Counter-Strike, which I don't believe is the same as Counter-Strike Global Offensive, actually, might have some trouble, might just have a bad name. Cliffy has been working with the studio after he graduated from college in 2003, so 15 years. He's been with Valve. He worked on Left 4 Dead 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So, again, take all of that information in before we start talking about what he's accused of. Close that. That's the same article. So, a lot of this news is coming from the local news people, and it's KIRO 7. Prosecutors, so the article here is going to be a little bit more detailed. Prosecutors say Jesse Cliffy, the creator of the Counter-Strike, was arrested for sexual exploitation of a child, paid a minor to have sex with him in 2017, and recorded her against her will. Okay. Cliffy was placed on leave from the Valve Corporation, where he worked as a designer, allegedly. Cliffy, who was right now placed on leave, allegedly met a girl on seekingarrangement.com. Wow. That's a website that is going to be full of honey traps Now, honey traps being police officers pretending to be prostitutes to arrest people. Uh, SeekingArrangement.com, a website that delivers a new way for relationships to form and grow, according to the site. Sugar babies and sugar daddies or mamas both get what they want when they want it, is a quote. The girl, now 16, so she would have been 15 at the time, told investigators she communicated with Cliffy via text message and another message platform such as Snapchat. The case started last May when the King County Sheriff's Office received a Child Protective Service referral. Okay, so this girl in some way got attention on herself for the Child Protective Services to be involved. That could have been anything from a teacher, a doctor, a accredited babysitter for a 15-year-old. I don't know. It'd probably be a teacher or a doctor, would be my guess. Anybody in those fields are required to report to CPS if they expect any kind of abuse. The teen told investigators that Clifford would pick her up and drop her off at an intersection near her Seattle home. Scroll down to do more reading. She reported meeting Jesse Cliffy to have sex for money at least 3 separate times, and that each time she was paid $300 for 1 hour, according to the probable cause document. Wow. So I guess that's the going rate for child prostitution. I'm not sure if that's too high or too low or just right. Never occurred to me to calculate that. She further reported that on the Leston case, while engaged in a sex act, Cliffy with his home, he attempted to and successfully video recorded portions of their session against her consent. The teen explained to detectives that Clifford made a reference to trying out his new phone camera, but she was horrified by the idea and said no. When she realized he was recording, she said nothing out of fear, and the teen told investigators. Cliffy allegedly told the teen that their arrangement through SeekingArrangement.com was technically legal, as he was paying her for her time, according to the investigation document. No, that's not true. Yeah, there's no way you're gonna be able to have sex with a minor and that be technically legal. Now, if she was above the age of consent in the United States and they had a filming crew there and they were making a porn, that would be legal. And that's always the irony there, is that you can pay a porn actress to have sex with you if you're filming a porn, but you can't pay somebody else to have sex with you. And the argument that even if she was above the age of consent and you were paying her for her time, that's not legal either. At this point, the teen wanted to point out it was legal to be in possession of child pornography in reference to the video he'd just taken, but decided against it as not to upset him, in addition to the fact that she could not be certain that he was aware of her true age of 16 years old. So she was 16. I thought she was 15. She very possibly was 15 at one of these incidents. Detectives served a search warrant to SeekingArrangement.com for Cliff's information when the teen was given his photo in a lineup. She said she was 80% certain that that was the man who paid her to have sex with him in his West Seattle home. Cliff met with the detectives late Wednesday at the Southwest Precinct. He admitted picking up a date and engaging in sex acts, which he paid her for a time. police said. He was arrested there and booked into the King County Jail at 1:17 a.m. the following morning. An attorney is quoted here. Cliffy was just as flabbergasted as anyways. Cliffy's attorney, Zachary C. Wagnield, said he's completely cooperating with the investigation and noted that he drove himself to the police, that Cliffy is cooperating with the investigation. Like, I don't think you really have much of an option there. There we go. There were no discussions about her age, and to Cliffy's knowledge, the video did not circulate anywhere, the attorney said. Cliffy, who is on leave from his job in Bellevue, graduated from Virginia Tech with a degree in management science. As an amateur photographer, he also took pictures for his hobby site, VintageSeattle.org, which continued until 2012. The site posted high-resolution photos of old Seattle, posted modern-day photos with his Canon EOS 20D Digital Rebellion XTI. I don't know why they specifically talk about his camera so much. They did this in the previous article too. It's like, we're still learning details of what actually happened, Valve Corporation spokesman said, Doug Lombardi. Thursday in an evening, reports suggest he's been arrested for a felony offense. As such, we've suspended his employment until we know more. So here's the thing, is that even if he thinks that he was paying for prostitution for someone who was over age, fair enough. I mean, he's still paying for prostitution, and it doesn't really change too much. He is right now on a bond with a bail amount, or last information I got, he was released on bond with a bail amount of $150,000. I believe it is a 10% usually on the bail to bond, so $15,000 would have had to have been paid by some bail's bondsman or him directly to get out of jail, which I'm not sure that's refundable if he shows up in court or not. I think he's almost certainly guilty of felony prostitution. Like hiring a prostitute. I think he's going down for at least a felony count there. And it's more nebulous, but not really. Like, maybe the 16-year-old girl can dress up to look like a 21-year-old, and maybe she said that was her age. It's certainly something that's happened before, but so they may not get him on the knowledge that he knew that, but he's going down for something. And like, I'm not saying any evidence here or any claim whatsoever that he for 1 second didn't know that he was hiring a prostitute, and we're hearing testimony that he was giving some very basic excuses that it was technically legal, so he knew that at least on a non-technical level what he was doing was illegal and immoral. Certainly there will be people out there that would argue that prostitution should be legalized and regulated. That is how the rest of Nevada outside of Las Vegas seems to decide to handle that. I potentially would be willing to listen to arguments for that. At the very least, we could ensure that people not get out of this. If I can go on to the universal basic income argument again for a second on this rant, like almost any situation can probably be helped by universal basic income. And somebody trying to get $900, a 16-year-old trying to get $900, which is allegedly what she got. Like, if she was getting, or her parents were getting universal basic income, they wouldn't really have a need for that. Now, would they? Like, this all came around one person's desire for money and another person's desire for illicit sex. You can, if you eliminate the one person's desire or need for money, that's a problem. It seems like this girl's probably not in a good family environment, because if she was, people wouldn't be paying more attention to a 16-year-old and where they were going, and Child Protective Services probably would have never gotten involved. So she's probably trying to get money in some way to improve her own lot in life, because that's generally how this goes. So I'm back on my Twitter feed now after that big story that we'll probably have a little bit more breaking news, but we've also probably hit the point where there won't be any interesting news on it for a while. 3 to 9 months, I would say, before he gets a court date, unless he negotiates a plea deal, which if I was his lawyer, I'd say you need to plea deal this out quick, because this is not going to play well if it goes to a jury. Yeah, unless he does a plea deal, it's going to be 3 to 6 months, I would guess, till the first court date. The court trial may be only a day or a week. The trial probably isn't going to stretch on that well. At this point, if Valve can get any official documents or official statements that they can use to, how would I say this? Like, it sounds like there's an official statement from him saying he specifically knew he was hiring a prostitute and doing something illegal. If I would have Valve's lawyers look over that, and I would say there's probably enough grounds to terminate him right then and there and disconnect Valve from the story that's only going to get worse. This is why corporations have morals clauses, and if Valve does have a morals clause, I'd say he's probably broken it. Discover legendary minion, summon 2 copies of it. Libretto is again upset with somebody because they donated, somebody pledged they pledged to Patreon and then they used that as an argument because they pledged to Libretto's open source development of the emulators, that thought that gave them carte blanche to then download a bunch of ROMs off the internet, and they're not happy about it, so they canceled his Patreon pledge. Well, not only it was a little bit more than that. He wanted to sell a gaming hardware box that would allow other users to download ROMs off the internet. Which, okay. Libretto is in a weird place because it's never going to feel fully legitimate, since the emulators only really do run ROMs. Like, sure, people can make their own ROMs and put them on the internet for free for everybody and make open source things, but the vast majority of people who use Libretto and RetroArch are doing it to play ROMs of some sort. Whether those ROMs are abandonware, whether you can make the argument in your own head, if not legally, that they're abandonware, it just gets a little too weird. And Libretto doesn't have any hard rules on not emulating the Wii U, for instance. Like, they're making progress on emulating some of the previous generations of machines on top of already pretty much being 100% compatible with some of the earliest generations of machines, like the Ataris and NES and stuff, Super NES. The Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 2 are the only ones that are kind of not at 100% compatibility. The Godot engine adds VR support. I'm a little surprised about that. I'm not sure I fully remember what the Godot engine was for. I thought it was for point-and-click adventure games, but apparently it can do. PC Gamer has an article, how to buy a graphics card without getting ripped off. I don't know if there is a way to do that right now. Like, the cryptocurrency mining, not only has it probably affected the Dow falling down a lot today, it has also drastically changed my schedule personally. As far as buying a new video card. In fact, somebody actually went back onto one of my videos where I'm upset with Lego games running badly, and I asked them if they had the same video card as me, and they had an AMD card. So yeah, just Lego games just don't run. They're just, maybe it's Windows 10 for some reason that they didn't patch them at all. So maybe Lego games just don't play on Windows 10 at all. Let's see, Your Gamer, Nintendo finally confirms the truth about Toad's head, or is it a hat? It's always been a hat. I don't know why people are even questioning that. Sims 4 is on sale for $10. Expansion's 50% off. I don't know if I'd want to buy The Sims 4 if it wasn't in some kind of final version, like full version. I'm still scrolling down on this news. We're gonna do some post game show. I haven't even gotten to the American account, so whatever I accomplish there, I'll probably just try to get 2 daily quests done. It's more job listings. I think we'll save those for Wednesday. Gamma Sutra has a question and answer section called Translating the Humor and Tone of the Yakuza Games for the West, which, yeah, that's important. Oh, I should talk about Team YouTube on Twitter. I did put out a tweet there to see if they would like my tweet. It was a lame tweet. I said, "Can I get a like? Please, pretty please," with the cherry on top. Was the tweet I sent out to them, and they didn't like it. Meanwhile, I've seen them like other things since then. So I'm trying not to buy into a conspiracy theory that all the channels that they are liking and are actually channels that YouTube themselves handpicked or created in the first place. But I would suspect that there is probably a level of there's a level of vetting and approval that seems to have to go through whether Team YouTube likes somebody who tweets to them, and it seems a little unfair, but whatever. Like, also that they're just trying to advertise and they're just liking people who say extremely nice things about YouTube. Susan Wojcicki has commented to Kylie Jenner, who posted a YouTube. Here's a little glimpse of the last 9 months. Is it Kylie Jenner, one of the daughter of Caitlyn Jenner? Like, I think they're kind of like the Kennedys. If yeah, this is the number one trending video right now. It's called "To Our Daughter," and I had no interest in looking at it at all. So, and yeah, Susan W said, "Congratulations on your healthy baby girl," at Kylie Jenner. What a heartwarming video. So she'll buddy up to semi-famous people. Man, there's these little threads that are just tying into this knot in my head about Susan Wojcicki and how shallow she is and how she wants to be a star on YouTube instead of being the CEO of YouTube. And she wants to be a star not on YouTube, she wants to be a star in the real world. Let's continue scrolling down Twitter. And while we're at it, we'll play one more game and see if we can get that victory we've been looking for. I've yet to see any major changes by doing the clickbait titles on these live streams, but semi-clickbait titles, not real clickbait in my opinion, but whatever. But it probably did cause 2 sub-for-sub people with less than 15 subs each to try and sub to my channel and then demand that I sub back. And I guess that's working. Like, whatever. If people want to do that, if bots want to sub to me, like I used to want to have a tight-knit community of people that really watch my videos and would interact with me, but now I guess it doesn't matter. I should just have 1,000 bots. As long as I have 1,000 bots and 4,000 watch hours, YouTube's happy. Well, at least for now they're happy. Enslaved Odyssey to the West Premium Edition. Episode 2 came out 4 hours ago. So on my channel, that's a good one to watch, I would say. Because there's a game I bet not many people played. It's an interesting look at somebody being ambitious and trying something and not fully succeeding in it. It's a decent game to play. It's nowhere as bad as Bionic Commando. Like, the reboot of Bionic Commando, I watched somebody speedrun it, and they played it almost exactly as I did, just faster. With its awkward construction. They ran around a lot of enemies that I spent a lot of time killing, but they didn't do anything special. No glitches, no cool moves. The one thing I learned from watching the hour-long speedrun to beat the game, which is kind of long, was apparently you were able to pick up a gun that they never told you could pick up that gun. I swear they never told you. And I thought it felt like something you should be able to do, to pick up a big, powerful weapon and use, but it didn't. I couldn't figure out a way to do it. And all the buttons in that game were a little awkward. But yeah, no special mechanics to beat any of the bosses or anything. Just decent gameplay for a speedrunner. Which is a shame, because that was the one thing in the Bionic Commando reboot that I thought might be interesting, is if somebody was willing to play a bad game but speedrun it, therefore give it a little bit more of a desirable experience. Giant Bomb has decided to start watching Dragon Ball Z videos too. So more, I imagine that's all behind their pay ramp. They're one more game. We need one more victory. I know we're going late. I imagine that's all behind their paywall. So yeah, there. I guess I can't criticize Giant Bomb for not covering Japanese games, and then also criticize them because I think they're just trying to pander to anime fans after a very long time of anti-pandering. They have specifically said directly that they were just not interested in anime or anime games, which is fair enough. But then for them to come back and say, hey, we're interested now, it's not terrible as far as I have an idea, but it also kind of sucks if it is just pandering. Exophase is the achievement merging site where you can put in your Steam account and your PSN account and your game Xbox account, and they've gotten some new achievements for something called Heroin Alpha Zero, which not sure what that is. It's a PS4 game, so according to this, so I'm gonna try and look that up. UNICEF has a Game Changers program asking gamers to mine cryptocurrencies for the support of relief in Syria. I would not do this. Like, one, it's not an effective way to support anything. It's a waste of electricity. It creates more heat on the planet, which increases global warming. And it's going to wear out your hardware. I suppose maybe if you really trusted UNICEF and you were running a corporation that didn't care and had like a business rate on electricity, that might make some sense. I can't trade any of these two, so I'm going to have to play warrior class cards and overload cards and secret cards That's like three different things that don't overlap at all. Here's an overload thing we can play. Excuse me, I've been talking too long. I guess I'm closer to rank 20 on Wild than I am here. And I think this is UNICEF France from what I'm seeing. Like, just a bad idea. Yeah. Nintendo has finally confirmed that Toad's head is indeed his head and not some kind of and not as some has speculated a hat. They're full of BS. Like, they say it's whatever they want it to be at the time, and they just don't care. The truth of it is, Nintendo people just don't care as far as any canon. Remember, this is also the same series that had Pauline is the lady that needed to be catched. Then it was Princess Peach, and then it was Princess Toadstool, or was it Princess Toadstool then Princess Peach? I'm not even sure. And then it was Rosetta in the Galaxy. And who is the main hero? Is it Jumpman from Donkey Kong, or is it Mario and Luigi's? And are Mario and Luigi super powerful like they are in Super Mario Brothers, or are they sometimes not super powerful like they are in the Mario Brothers arcade game? Is Mario a plumber now, or did he used to be a plumber? Or was he a carpenter when he was Jumpman in Donkey Kong? Because that's what it said then. Like, and I could go on and go on, but the point is, Nintendo doesn't care about consistency. If you've ever watched an anime that just goes off the rail and things just randomly happens, it's that same attitude. They just don't care. For as much as video game fans may look at Nintendo as this revered thing, they look at Nintendo employees look at Nintendo as a toy company, selling toys and selling video games. And just like the G.I. Joe story was not, no real care for the G.I. Joe cartoons was spent, no real care for any canon. And they play with it poorly, and they say all the Zeldas are in some linear universe canonically connected. No, it's not. It's just BS. I'm going to save this article for next time. This is a job. Capcom has laid off workers at the Dead Rising studio. In restructuring, they've laid off 30% of the studio. So I wouldn't be surprised that Kotaku estimates that's about 50 people have been fired. I wouldn't be surprised for something like this, though. It's not like Dead Rising was making all the money and all the profit, and that's, I imagine, what Capcom wanted, is yet another game they can make all the money on. And let's see, I guess that puts us back to Twitter, because I don't want to cover any more content today. I've talked for long enough. After this game, we'll wrap up and go into post-game play. It's going to be a decent amount of post-game play. It's been a nice stream. Torva and Tragic Master both came in for a second and said hi and then kind of left. And I still kind of miss Loki the Cat. Like, Loki the Cat like he just doesn't come on the streams anymore and talk like he used to. He used to like I don't know, he used to have the gift of gab, I suppose is what you could say. Is that he would ask questions and interact in a way that most people don't seem like they're able to do, and maybe I'm not able to do. And maybe I've changed too, so maybe I'm just not that good at going into conversations by myself as I used to be. Let's just keep playing. If I do that, I die. But I can't really do anything else. So I gotta kill that guy. And then kill that guy. And then do this. And then do this. Next turn, play this, I win. Almost certain. Like, even if I bring this out, it has charge and wind fury. It can do 6 damage. So if he can bring out a 6 health taunt, I can still kill it. A 9 health taunt, on the other hand, might be a little bit beyond my ability. Can't do anything here, so might as well just end my turn. All I need is a spell to do 2 damage on win 2. The question is, do I have a spell that will do 2 damage? Apparently, he has a spell. He has one. He probably only has one 10-mana spell in his deck, so that he plays Deathwing, and he probably only has one 10-mana minion in his deck. That way, for 6 mana, you can do something like that. Come on, give me spell damage. Alright, kill this guy. Here's another overload card. If this guy survives, I could win, but I seriously doubt he will. So this game, Heroin Anthem 0, is on Steam, but it's rated mixed at 60% of current things. 60% isn't at a terrible bad rating, though. But maybe on Steam it is. I still haven't got a full feeling of what a good rating versus a bad rating on Steam is, since, you know, video games are always rated 7 if they're average. Well, it looks like a side-scrolling game, fighter, beat 'em up, jump, fantasy world characters. Slightly interesting. Let's look at the negative reviews. Well, I don't think we have time to look at the negative reviews, actually. I'll look at those myself later. So I'll have to leave you there and see. Let's see. Like, this review is... One of the negative reviews is for when it was first released. Controls are not rebindable, not recommended. This game looks quite nice and combat is kind of simplistic, but the game has a stupid bug that there's a chance after reload you'll start dealing minimal damage. Some say it is fixable by switching weapons, but it did not reach the part where you could get another weapon, so you're stuck there flying like an idiot against a rat 30 minutes. Okay, is a bug. Here's one. The game's too short. There's about 2 hours, if that, of repetitive playable. Oh man, 2 hours? 2 hours for a game like this? That's the kiss of death. Like, I would play... Well, I'd play a good 2-hour version of a game like this. But I'd also kind of expect a game that looks like this as a side-scrolling beat-em-up game to also be at least 5 hours of gameplay. Well, that's gonna be it for this stream. I'm talking right up till the end. It's like I'm gonna have to learn to shut up. So I need to, at the minimum, get at least 2 of these done. So we'll try to play the overload cards for 7 more times, and then we'll play warrior class cards, which I can do with my weapons deck. Play 50 of those. That's gonna kind of suck. That's it for this stream. It's been kind of odd, kind of long. That Jesse Clefay, Jess Clefay, whatever his name is, story sure came out of nowhere. Again, Wednesdays might be weird. I might be right on time. I might not stream at all. This would be the first time since I started live streaming, which I totally, completely missed a day. But, you know, I'm also not going to hold myself to such a stringent strategy like the world is going to end if I don't stream. Like, the world has already ended on YouTube. They've already said my channel is not important enough to be legitimate. So, what's the worst that could happen? That's it for the stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me, gift me a Steam game. That helps more than watching ads. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.